everybody. I'm Danielle, and welcome back to Random Conversations. I know you missed us from last week.
You can hear us now, I hope.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We fixed that. We fixed that.
Technical difficulties.
Yes, and it was anyway. We're here now. So, I've been seeing this trend, and I don't know how to put this. I think it's optimal that people have a choice on what to do after high school. People meaning young adults. They don't necessarily have to go to college. They could take other segues to be successful in life. And that segue that I think could be great for new high school grads is trade school. So there is a high percentage of kids graduating high school that are opting not to go to college and deciding to do trade, whether it be welding, carpentry. What else is a trade? Electrician.
Yeah, things of that
dealing
nature.
with engineering, HVAC systems. A lot of people are heading that direction, and not only are they excelling in it, but as soon as they leave the trade school, they could earn up to $70K right off the top. And you're like, what, in your early 20s earning $70K? That's amazing. So I do feel like college wouldn't be necessary for certain people if surviving is their main goal in life. Like if you go to college and you get a degree, there's a chance that you probably won't even find a job in the degree that you went to school for. So you're basically wasting your money obtaining this degree to not even utilize it in your future. If you go to a trade school, you go to school to be a welder. In the next year or so, you're welding and you're making good money as well. So I do think, not discouraging kids not to go to college. If that's your pathway, then that's your pathway. But those children who don't feel that there is a necessary need could always go to trade school. The money is there. How do you feel about my thoughts?
Well, I mean, I agree with you that these kids deserve the option. There was a big overcorrection during our generation to have the big push for kids to go to school, go to college.
And another thing, millennials are the highest generation with the most degrees. Like there's a lot of millennials graduating school with all these degrees and nothing to show for it. You're paying exorbitant amounts in student loans. You're drowning in student loans and you don't even have a job that could help pay you off. Well, pay them off. It's like...
Because, well, I think part of that is the decision making of the kids and their parents. It's like, if I know you want to be a nurse, you don't necessarily need to go to LIU and spend. You
could go to Chamberlain
right,
University.
You could go to New York City Tech that has a great nursing program.
You don't even need your bachelor's.
Right. You don't need to go to LIU and rack up like $100,000 in debt to go be a nurse. But some of these people, they get too enamored with the name of the college that you're going to, and then they get saddled with all this debt. Or you go to a big name school like Brown or Harvard and get a freaking philosophy degree.
Like, what are you doing with it?
Right? You know what I'm saying? So, people got to be smarter concerning the choices they make. Kids need to kind of figure out, okay, what is it that I really want to major in? Do some homework concerning like how much money does that bring in yearly versus how much student debt you're going to incur if you go to certain particular schools, right? But let's get back on topic. I think, trades is very important. There's a shortage of tradesmen in the U.S. right now because of the push for the previous generation to get college degrees. So now tradesmen are in demand. And there's more benefit to being a tradesman than just coming out of college and making $70K. You also learn a life skill that can help you save money in the end. Any electrician will let you know. I mean, because they go to a house, they assess a job, they give an estimate, and they know they kind of upcharging you, and they know, and because they know that's just what the market is. That's what they can charge, and that's what their contemporaries are charging. But they'll never have to pay that because they can do it themselves, right? So you save yourself money at the same time you're making money. And with those trades, you can also not just work for other companies or city departments.
You can make your own LLC.
You could work for yourself. You can be, self-employed. So there's so many benefits to being to getting into the trades. I think it's a great thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're stupid. It just means that you decided to do that with your life as opposed to go to a conventional 4-year college and get a degree. There's a million ways to skin a cat, right? So don't get bogged down in what society tells you you're supposed to do. You kind of got to find your own way. You got to figure out what works for you and go ahead and do that and be damned what everybody else thinks.
Blue collar is the way to go, especially here in America. If you can learn a trade, you're going to be useful and you're going to always be employed and you're going to always make money.
And you're unionized.
Exactly.
Right? In a lot of situations. You go, you get this high price degree, you get this big job and you have no protection. And if the company is underperforming, you get laid off. Or if you make one mistake, you get fired, So it's
much safer than having a white collar job. Much, much safer. You're not walking around with the suit and tie now, and you might look dirty all the time, but at least you're getting some money on the back end of it.
Like that suit and tie is overrated anyway.
It is overrated. And a lot of people are like, oh, I wouldn't date somebody who's a plumber. But do you know how much plumbers make?
They don't know.
They don't know, and they're ignorant to it. But once they find out, they do their research. Oh, a plumber might not be so bad. And a plumber could clean themselves and be presentable and establish a good life for themselves and the person they're bringing into their world.
And you know what's crazy to me? Because women always talk about how sexy it is to be with a man who knows how to use his hands, right? Who knows how to fix things and all of that stuff. So why look down on a man who's a tradesman? Who's an electrician, who's a plumber, Why would you look down on someone like that? I don't get it. It's very contradictory.
Yeah. But I don't know. It seems like women are looking for them now. There was this thing in the summer where women need to go to Home Depot or Lowe's at certain times of the day or the week. Yeah. If they want to find somebody, it's like, oh, if you want to find a contractor or you want to find somebody who's in this field, you got to go to Home Depot between the hours of 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. They're all there.
So all the desperate women at Home Depot.
Not desperate. Don't call them desperate. Don't call them desperate. They just want to find somebody.
It's better than a dating app.
It is way better than a dating app. And you might run into, I wonder if there's plumbers that are hoes.
Plumbers that are what?
Hoes.
There's hoes in every profession. Every profession has hoes.
He plumbing everybody.
Yep. Man getting paid to do a job and he doing another job.
So like you have 2 sons. I have a son, for instance. What if they tell you like, Dad, I don't want to go to college. I want to be a tradesman. I want to go to school for trade. How are you feeling? Because you and your wife, you both have degrees.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
I wouldn't be upset at it. I'd be like, if that's what you really want to do, you go ahead and do it because I know that you can make a living from that, right?
Yeah.
And one of the most important things.
Because a lot of people downplay. I'm sorry.
No, I feel like Black people and entrepreneurship, especially in our generation, go hand in hand. Everybody
want to be a boss.
Want to be a boss. Nobody want to work for nobody. And I feel like learning a trade is a way in which you can be your own boss. It's easier to monetize that as opposed to like a conventional 4-year degree, right? Because you could just do so much. You could work for an organization and then on the weekends you do your own thing. I just feel like there's so much upside when you learn a trade, right? If you want to go to college, you get a 4-year degree, that's cool. You want to get a trade, you want to learn a trade, that's cool too.
Because I know growing up, it was so much emphasis, go to college and get your degree and blah, 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 blah. And they love when you go up and up and up. Like, not only have you done your bachelor's, but you also did your master's and you also did your doctorate. But I don't know why it's so important. Well, it was back then for people to go to college.
Because they say knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power, but surviving, I think, is more powerful.
Well, surviving is surviving. But the thing is...
And living comfortably is more powerful. You see what we're going to go through in New York City pretty soon. A lot of the funds is going to probably be cut off because new powers are taking over. You're going to need to have a job that you could go here, you could go there, you could go there, and they'll easily pick you up. So going to school and getting a trade, I think right now should be not a focal point in a lot of these kids' lives, but it should be highly considered if you're thinking about being on your feet and just surviving in today's world.
Well, the thing is, back in the day, like back in our parents' day, you used to be able to learn a trade in high school.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
They need to bring that back. They need to bring trades back to high school, introduce it to them so that kids know, this is an option. They can figure out if they like it or not at a younger age.
I feel like a lot of the stuff that we learned in high school, I know a lot of stuff I learned in high school, I'm not using half that today.
No.
None of it.
No.
Geometry, trigonometry, physics. I'm not
earth science,
unless you're a scientist
chemistry,
or like a mathematician. Half that stuff you learned back then just to get a passing grade, to get your diploma, you're not even utilizing it. That's why a lot of these schools are like, they're doing classes for financial literacy. They're doing classes that actually matter when you go out into the real world, instead of all these bullshit classes. Yeah, they're bullshit classes. I mean, I passed them, but they're still bullshit classes. But it's just, I don't know. I think we got to center our kids into learning how to survive and how to make it in the real world when they're young in college, instead of going to college and figuring shit out all on a whim. Like life hits them so fast they don't know what to do. Now they're stuck with all these student loans, can't pay them back. So that's how I feel about that. Loneliness. Gonna segue again into loneliness. So there's a high percentage in the United States of people that are stating that they consider themselves lonely.
Like 50% of adults say that they're lonely.
So loneliness to me means you're probably going to be lonely because you want to. You don't need a significant person in your life to be there with you. And they're recording that and they're like, yeah, I'm lonely, but it's not that big of a deal. Like I'll survive, die alone. So what's the point of me having somebody there to share a lot of my life with them?
No, there's a big difference. I feel like loneliness.
You're a big proponent of having a nucleus around you.
Yeah, having somebody. I mean, human beings aren't designed to be alone, right? And I was watching a video where they were discussing like loneliness, and basically loneliness is a defense mechanism that's learned over time from our ancestors, trickle down to us. It was a survival tactic. It basically helps you to maintain a certain level of camaraderie with the group, because back in ancient times, if you couldn't get in with the group, you were shunned from the group, and then you were killed by wild animals or what have you. Now we don't have that immediate danger that we're dealing with, but still we do get lonely. There's always a longing to be a part of a group. We make friends, we have relationships, we get married, we have children to share our lives with and impart lessons with, grandchildren. Life is all about companionship. It's about sharing it with others, whether it be a friend or a significant other, right? And loneliness is can be very debilitating, and it could transform itself into depression if you don't get a handle on it. And once you fall into depression, that's not a hole that's easily dug out of, right?
What if this person has some type of social disability, like they're not able to go out there and actually connect with people?
Well, they would have to seek help for that, right? So, and I really feel that there's someone for everyone. There's a tribe for every individual. There's a pot for every lid, right? You might not be able to find. It might be a little bit harder for people like that to find their tribe, but they're out there. But loneliness is a epidemic right now.
So why do you feel? Look at me making this like an interview.
No.
Why do you feel like there's more and more people reporting that they're lonely? Do you think that it's a societal issue?
It's a societal issue, and I think it's because of social media, how we're interacting less and less in front of each other and more via screens. I think social media also shows people what's acceptable and what isn't, and some people what's cool and what's not. And some people feel that they don't necessarily find themselves on the cool side of the spectrum, and so they kind of automatically check themselves out of certain situations, or they stop themselves short of going after something that they really want. Like take a show like Pop the Balloon, for instance, right? There'll be a gorgeous woman come out to a group of men, and then you'll see a random man just pop and be like, I don't think she would feel me because I'm short, or because I'm a little heavy or whatever. It's like they automatically just assume because she looks like the societal beauty standard, that because they're not that beauty standard, that she wouldn't go for him, right? So people kind of check themselves out of the game before they even take a swing.
I feel like sometimes people choose the route of just being by themselves because of like probably past experience, and they choose peace over turmoil. Because you need a tribe, but not everybody in that tribe is going to get along. There's certain things that are going to piss you off, and sometimes you feel like, maybe it's just best for me to be on this side and let them do that so I could maintain my peace. I feel that sometimes people just opt to like just move away from everything so they don't have to be bothered with certain situations. Like I have an uncle, sorry to get so personal, but I have an uncle that separated himself from our family from like over 20 years ago. He chose peace because everything that was going on in the immediate family, it was just straight turmoil. And he just decided to step away from that. Even though he has siblings, he was like, I just need my peace. I'll live in my little bubble. I'll be here by myself, and I'm going to thrive by myself. I don't need these people to tear me down. I feel like certain people just want to have a peace of mind instead of just being around. Just not all tribes that you feel like you're included in are good for you. So sometimes you have to separate yourself so you could maintain your mental state, because people will drive you crazy. Not only your mental, but people will drive you crazy. So sometimes it's best you separate yourself from that. And I feel like that's why these numbers are so high, because people are choosing peace.
I think that is an unhealthy way to live life, by completely just separating yourself from society. I feel like, okay, yeah, I'm in a situation with an individual or a group of people.
But if they find their
really
own way
good.
to thrive, then
Who
are we to knock them?
I don't know. I don't know if they're thriving, right? Because I think what you're describing isn't loneliness. Loneliness.
If you're just going there by yourself, you're lonely. You're one person.
No. Loneliness is a feeling. It's a longing, right? So if you decide to just separate yourself from, say, like take your uncle, for instance, he separated himself from his family, right? Now, I don't know if that necessarily made him feel lonely. Does he have a longing to reconnect? Does he, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. When you say someone is lonely, they feel separated. They feel that separation from the group. And that...
He probably felt lonely while within the group and decided, all right.
You could feel lonely in a group of people. Yeah.
So he probably thought, you know what? Let me just go over here.
But that's why I think it's important to kind of like assess yourself every now and then, because completely separating yourself from the group, I don't think is the answer. Sometimes you might need to take a break, and then you come back. Take a break, assess the situation, see if you're not the problem, or find out what is the problem and confront it. If the problem is the group is toxic, then maybe you need to find yourself another group. Maybe that's not your tribe, right? But to just say, because I had a bad experience with this particular group of people, and So because of that bad experience, I'm not dealing with anybody anymore, and I'm just going to live my life by myself like an old curmudgeon. I don't think
Not an old curmudgeon.
that I don't think that that's a healthy way to live, right? I don't think that's a healthy way to live at all, and that's just my opinion.
Well, you like camaraderie. You like to be in group settings. You like that. You like that feeling. Certain people don't.
I mean, I like to be alone sometimes. You know, sometimes it's good to be just enjoy your own company, but I don't prescribe to that as a way to live all the time. Like sometimes you just need a little time to yourself. Everybody enjoys a little me time, but I think that you should always have connections.
A public health crisis in 2023. The U.S. Surgeon General declared loneliness and social isolation an urgent public health issue, stating that it poses a greater risk to health than smoking, diabetes, or obesity.
Yeah, because of the stress that it brings on, it amplifies stuff like cancer. It amplifies all your diseases. Stress kills. And that's why I said, you're talking
You're
about
stressing because you, I don't know. Maybe
No,
it's just me.
Because you're thinking about loneliness as a person just being
Isolated.
No, you're just being by yourself. Loneliness is a feeling. It's a feeling. You feel separated from everyone else. You want to be with everyone else, but for some reason you're not. And so you start to internalize these thoughts, and that's why loneliness leads to depression. And with depression, if you have any other underlying issues like cancer and things like that, it'll just amplify it, right?
So let's go back to the big number as to why the rates are high when it comes to people feeling lonely, especially here in America. I honestly, now that you put it in that term, don't know why the rates are so high.
I feel like
maybe COVID amplified it.
COVID definitely
we had to be isolated
Yeah.
from people a lot, and maybe when the doors opened back up and
People
everybody
didn't know
was
how to-
free to go and do what they want, there's a few people who just felt like they don't fit in. I'm not sure.
Either they don't fit in or they don't feel comfortable being around people because of traumatic experiences that they experienced during COVID, or you just forgot how to socialize face to face, right? So there's COVID has had a long lasting effect on our society, and we're still uncovering the effects it's had on us.
5 years later.
Mm-hmm.
5 years, I never thought we'd still be dealing with the effects of COVID 5 years later in terms of like your mental.
Yeah.
I could see if, there was a new strain or something, but I thought everything would be back in the groove by now. Dealing with human beings, I thought everything would be all right, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that way for a very long time.
Nothing is the same. Even businesses,
there's certain businesses that can't come back.
Take the movie businesses, for instance. Like, people just don't go to the movies like that no more. They might go maybe check out 1 or 2 movies a year, if that, because they just don't want to be in the crowds. People they're more fearful when they step out the door nowadays.
But I don't think the disease is the cause of that.
Oh yeah. Because you're in an enclosed theater with like 100 people laughing, coughing, all them germs is flying around in the air. It's not going anywhere. They don't have these HVAC systems that with filters that suck up the microbes in the air, like they said that they were going to install.
Yeah,
but they never did.
The virus is not a deadly one anymore.
Right. Well, people, you got to understand, they already had a psychological effect on people.
I know a lot of people have PTSD about it, but I'm just saying that the virus is not it's not a death sentence. So go and live your life. You only have one. So speaking of living your life. So according to this video that I saw, I forgot the doctor's name. I know her name is Danielle. Shout out to Danielle. So every 7 years, you have to prune your friends. You have to lose some friends and you have to gain some friends because every stage of your life requires a new set of friends. When she had mentioned this, I'm like, Do I need to? I don't think I need to prune anybody, but I don't necessarily agree with that because you meet some people in your life that are not a part of your family that are going to be there for a very long time. You don't have to prune. You don't have to do any of that. Can you gain new friends? Yes. Some people wither away, but I don't think that's pruning because when you say pruning, I'm thinking that you're taking this person and just grabbing them out your life for a reason unknown. You feel like you've outgrown that person and you just feel like, all right, I have to isolate myself from her because him or her because they're no longer a presence that's needed. I don't necessarily agree with that. If you are a friend to somebody, I think you should, and if you don't feel like that person is on the same level as you, uplift. Don't just get rid of the person unless they feel the same way about you. But I don't think you have to lose friends in order to gain new friends at every stage of your life because there's certain people that you go through phases with. Like they say, different different seasons. Like people are only there for a season.
Yeah.
Let that person be there for a season and let that naturally just go its own way. But pruning, you're pulling from the root, meaning it's like some type of dramatic effect that you're getting rid of this person, which I don't necessarily agree with. But how do you feel about the statement that every 7 years you have to prune your friends and gain new ones?
I don't think you have to prune your friends and gain new ones. I think you naturally do that. I feel like people naturally grow apart. Sometimes you don't even notice it, but all of a sudden you haven't spoken to this person in months or years, and you're like, damn, what happened?
And that's not something that you wanted to do.
Yeah,
it just happened.
right? Life happens. You get busy. You get overwhelmed at work. You get married. You have kids. You have so many things occupying your time. And then also new friends come in. You might be dealing with individuals like the individuals we were dealing with before weren't married or they were married but didn't have kids. And so they might not be able to relate. So you start to gravitate to people in similar situations and talk to people in similar situations to get advice. So all of a sudden you're talking to these people over here and you're neglecting your old friends over there because they're just not dealing with the same type of situation that you're dealing with. I can speak to that from personal experience. And I try to keep close with a lot of my friends, especially my older ones from childhood. But sometimes it just gets tough. Like I have this really good friend of mine. He's in a fraternity, and I watch him on Instagram doing his thing, and I'm like, I was like, I got to get up with him, but I was like, he living too fast right now. I'm not there at that stage of my life anymore. I'm living for my kids. I'm living for my wife. I can't be on the move. So I'm like, I don't want to slow.
But that's not you shedding your friends.
That's not me shedding. No. Because
them.
I still got a lot of love for him, and we still maintain contact, but we haven't hung out in any type of meaningful way in a long time. And it's because I just feel like, if he was to hang out with me, it would be a little bit boring compared to what he's accustomed to now because I'm just not on that speed, right? Or sometimes you see someone that you haven't seen in a while and you say, hey, and they say, I got to go somewhere, which has happened to me too. So I'm like, oh, I guess, that season is over, right? So, but I think things...
But it's not deliberate.
Right. I think things happen naturally. You just separate slowly until they're no longer in view. And it's nobody's fault. But I do think that you should make efforts to keep your real friends in your life, right? You only get a few real friends. I had to learn that lesson when I was younger. It was a tough lesson, but not everybody is your friend, right? Some people, they're cool in certain situations, and then they're useless in serious situations when you actually need someone, right? Or you hanging out with somebody and they're putting you in a situation that could potentially get you in trouble. And I'm like, that's not a friend. A friend would never put you in a situation where you would get in trouble willfully, So, and those are the type of friends that you prune. The ones that could be a detriment to you and your loved ones is the ones that you prune. The ones that has always been there for you and you could count on and You know,
even though if you're not in the same level
Right.
as they are, you could still count on them. They're not gonna down look on you, like out. What's that word? Look down on you. They're not gonna do any of that. Those are the type of people that you need around.
Yeah.
I have my best friend. We've been friends for 25 years. I've known her since we were 8 and 7 years old. And every stage of my life, I've gained a friend that I keep close to me. So childhood, my best friend. High school, I have about 2 friends that I still consider very close friends from high school. College, same thing. And we just grow along with each other. We might not be in the same levels of life, but that doesn't mean I'm pruning them out, because we're not. So that's how I feel about friendships. And it's always good to have different friend groups as well. I think that's very important, because you can't just blend all your friends together and expect everybody to get along. You know, this certain friend group likes XYZ. You hang out with them when you want to talk about XYZ. Same thing with another group. You got to, dib and dab in certain areas or certain people so you could get your fill. And that's what I think friendships are made from. And pruning them, to me, is not the best idea. You just have to naturally let it go its own way.
Me personally, when it comes to, like, when you say, like, having different friends in different groups and stuff like that, like me, I've never been like that. Me, if you my friend, I'm gonna introduce you to my other friends. Y'all might not hit it off or whatnot, and then I'll notice that y'all don't hit it off, and then I'll just be like, all right,
I've never been the type to mix friends together.
I bring everybody together.
I don't know about that.
And then and a lot of times, most times, like I had like friends from the neighborhood, and then I have friends from school, and I'll be like, yo, come through. And they come over to the neighborhood, and I'm introducing my friends, and now they're at the neighborhood every weekend, and like my friend group just get bigger and bigger and bigger, because I just like getting everybody together. If you don't vibe, I'm not gonna force it, right? I'm not gonna force you to, hang out with people you don't want to hang out with. But I always want to bring my friends together, right? That's just me. I was like, I don't want to hang out over here and just like, I want to hang out with everybody. So I'm like, the sooner I can get y'all cool, the sooner we can all hang out. That's my whole attitude,
I don't know. I've been successful mixing 2 of my friends together. You know them, Dominique and Mariah. They didn't know each other. I'm the nucleus because I met Mariah in college, and Dominique's obviously my best friend. We went to a Beyonce concert, I believe in 2016. That's where they met. And they hung out a few times with me there, but now it's just like we're like the 3 musketeers. So that's the only thing I deem successful in mixing friend groups together. I mean, if I have a group of friends here and then another group of friends here, and they so happen to hit it off, then that's just how it happened. But I'm not forcibly doing so, because sometimes when you mix groups of friends together, and there's some type of contention that comes along with it, it's like, oh my God, I should have never done that. Then you feel guilty.
Contention.
I didn't like the way, I didn't like this, and I didn't like, even though we're all adults, you still can't mix friend groups together. You see it all the time.
I don't know. I feel like I don't have, like, I have different friends as they're physically different people. But I feel like everyone that I gravitate to is pretty much like-minded individuals trying to strive for the same things or want better for themselves. And so they're not too different from the other friends that I have. I could see if, like, some people, they go to work and they code switch. So they're proper and all that stuff at work, but then
they come out of work and they
come out of work and they get back to their hood.
And they say, "You don't know me."
Yeah, it's a different situation. So your friends in the hood might not be able to mingle with your friends at work, right? Mm-hmm. So I get that what you're saying, but all my friends is on my wavelength.
I don't know. I'm like, is it culturally ambiguous? I could blend in any type of friend group. That's how I am. So there's a group of friends that could be this way, and I could immediately, get what they're saying, and I could go over here, and I could immediately, can join that. So it's not like, and then when you blend those, because they could be from 2 totally different worlds, and when you blend those 2 in together, it's like it feels awkward because they don't have anything in common to talk to this person about. So it's
that's when you come in and you create.
Yeah, you try to be the segue. You try to be the segue, but sometimes it doesn't hit off the way you expect it to.
That's why I like with dudes, because you could just talk about
females is very different.
Yeah, you just throw sports in there, and all of a sudden you're like,
everybody's talking about sports,
and then you just like, and
see,
then
with my friends, with my girlfriends, I can't sit down and talk to them about football or sports or anything like that, because they'll know a little bit. But if I start getting into the nitty gritty details, they'll be like, all right, Danielle, I don't know what you're talking about. So it's very hard, because there's certain interests that I like that they don't necessarily like, and it could go either way with any friend group that I'm a part of. So that's why I'm like, I don't want to mix it, because I don't want them to talk about stuff and they don't know what this person's talking about. And then I have to sit there and talk the whole entire time because I brought these two people or these people here together. We just went. But that is the premise of the show. So this last topic I wanted to get into. So there was this interview that I watched with a psychologist. I believe the psychologist was talking to Mel Robbins about how siblings grow up. They don't grow up in the same family. So you could be blood siblings, right? Same mom, same dad, but you're not in the same family, because the way they treat you might not necessarily be the way that they treat your brother or your sister. So your childhood experience could probably be way different than what your sister or brother experienced. And I found that. So I'm not an only child. I do have a brother who's on my dad's side, but I could totally get, like, if he were to be brought up with this question, he was like, yeah, I definitely had a different childhood than Danielle, because Danielle had both parents in the household. I had to go back and forth every summer to my dad, and the dynamic was probably different. So I could see, like, from his standpoint, where he would say his childhood was drastically different from mine. But do you want to get in? Because you have a sibling, same mom, same dad.
Yeah,
would
definitely.
you say that your sister would say the same thing?
Oh, most definitely. She has said the same thing. Yeah, this doctor hit it right on the head. He hit the nail on the head. He is correct. You know, you and your sister grow up in the same house, same parents, and have completely different experiences. It's like you're living in two completely different families. And it's because, you know, it's like you said, kids, no two kids are the same. You have different temperaments. You might have different genders. You know what I'm saying? So the way that we interact with the world around us and things that we take from it, right, is going to be different. And so, and then depending on the temperament, you're going to parent that child differently, right? They say, like, sports is a microcosm of life, right? And so you hear all the time, as a coach, you can't coach. You might not be able to coach two players the same way. One player might respond to constructive criticism, while another might respond to a little bit of, like, a more gentle touch, right? Same thing with your children. And then when it gets to genders, it's completely different. I remember when I was growing up, whenever it snowed, I had to get my winter gear on, go outside.
And you wondered why your
shovel.
sibling is not.
Yeah, I always would look back, see my sister sitting on the couch with some hot chocolate, watching TV, and I'd just be burning inside. I'm like, yo, it's freezing out here. I'm freaking shoveling
Gender roles.
4 feet of snow. Like, this isn't fair. Or, like, you know, taking out the garbage and stuff like that. And, you know, I used to think, like, oh, this is not fair. And then, you know, a couple of years back, my sister came over my apartment, and we were having a discussion, and it completely, like, went left. Well, not left in a bad way, but it took a turn, and all of a sudden we started talking about our childhoods, and she was just basically saying how her experience was completely different, and you know, how she felt I should have had her back more. But, you know, as kids, you're dealing with stuff and you're not necessarily paying attention to what's going on to everyone around you. I mean, you're a kid. You're not going to have that wherewithal to kind of really focus unless someone's getting, like, abused or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that wasn't happening. But she had her own separate experience, which I will not discuss.
Yeah, you know,
But, yeah, she had her own separate experience, and we had like a heart to heart about it, and I like understood where she was coming from, and her fiance was her boyfriend was basically saying, you know, you guys should have been, you know, together on things more. You know, y'all should have been like the two of y'all against the world. But it was just, you know, both of us were thinking that, you know, our parents were coming down on us for completely different reasons, and we never shared that with each other until we were adults. You know,
there's like siblings that have a strong bond, and then you have siblings that is like hanging on by a thread. I don't know what the cause of it is. Maybe the personalities between the siblings,
sure.
or the way that a parent might have favored, like they made
perceived
favoritism. They probably. I do think certain parents have favorites.
Parents definitely have favorites. They might not have it consciously, but subconsciously you might.
But by the way they show affection to a certain child more so than the other. It could be like I was saying, like there are certain sibling relationships that they're strong, they're locked in, and then you have other siblings that are just hanging on, right? Just because they're siblings. It could be, like I said, the personalities of the siblings, or it could be the parents that really, that destroyed that bond because of the way they treated the children. They didn't treat them equally, and that caused a lot of trauma. It's like deep rooted.
Is the thing. You can't treat them equally. You can only promise to treat them all fairly, because if the temperaments are different, or if the genders are different, you can't treat them exactly the same. You just can't. But there are times when a parent might, because like you hit it when you stated that the parents sometimes cause a wedge between the siblings because there's a perceived favoritism there. But sometimes a parent might see that, okay, this one child over here is all right. I don't really have to do much for this kid. This kid is a good,
but you still shouldn't parent like that.
This kid is a good egg, and so you kind of leave them to their own devices because you feel like you could trust them. While on the other hand, this other child is more of a problem child. You know, he or she has a lot of issues, and I need to pay more attention and pour more of myself into this child because I can see this child going the wrong way, right? And that happens a lot too. I get where
you're coming from, but how do you feel that like the child who you think is all right is going to feel that?
Right. I mean, it's hard.
You keep pouring into this specific child. What about me?
It's easy for us to Monday morning quarterback it or watch it from afar and say this is happening, but for a parent in the moment, all you're thinking about is making sure that both of your children make it, you know, to adulthood, and are ultimately able to survive on their own. And if that means trauma, if that means that I have to pour into this child a little bit more and pay more attention because this child is a problem child, then you know they're gonna do that. But they have to explain. The thing is, you have to explain it. You have to explain.
That child is always going to be yearning for that. For the parents' love because they feel like, or attention because they feel like that specific child is getting more than what they feel like they're being an upstanding citizen. They're being the best child that they could possibly be. But they're going to just get a tap on the back. Like, good job, buddy. I got to focus on your sibling.
But look at the world. It's always negativity that gets the most attention. It's always negativity that gets the most likes, the most shares. That's just what it is. The squeaky wheel
backwards.
The squeaky wheel gets the attention, and it sucks because you get punished for being good. You know what I'm saying? You do everything right, and your parents just, you know, that a boy and give you a tap on the back, and that's it.
I get what you're saying, but it doesn't make it right.
Meanwhile, the troubled kid gets a C, and they jumping for joy, like, "Oh, you did so great!" And you just sitting there looking there like,
"It's just ass backwards."
Bullshit?
It's just ass backwards. It's just ass backwards. You need to treat every child. You don't treat every child the same because, like you said, the temperament.
You treat them fairly.
But yes, you treat them fairly, and you can't make them feel like they're less than because you're showing more affection or you're showing more attention to the other, because that's just going to cause contention.
And as a parent, you have to be able to hear
and
that
then
from
when
your
that child starts acting out, you're going to wonder where the hell that's coming from. And you have no idea.
As a parent, you need to hear that from your children too. Because sometimes a child will tell their mother or their father, whoever, like, you know, you definitely show favoritism to this child. Like, you definitely don't give me
You're
that.
like, no, I don't. Yes, you do.
You, instead of hearing it, digesting it, and really thinking about it, you automatically go into a defensive mode. When it's better off that you just listen and try to adjust accordingly, right? Because there's a situation in my family where you just clearly see that, and no matter how many times you try to say this is what it is, no matter how many people tell you that, you know, the person just refuses to acknowledge it. You know, but I'm like, you know, it's hard to see sometimes because you like. In life, you're trained by your parents to do things the right way, and you expect to be rewarded or receive some sort of praise for doing things the right way. And when it doesn't happen, and you see somebody who does things the wrong way, and they get all the attention, that can't help but burn you inside.
There was also this study that shows that parents who don't get like say like for older parents, right, when your children are already grown and so they're already grown. The child that shows them the less amount of attention to the parents, like, oh, mom, whatever, I'll call her back when they get like the parents yearn for that, except for the child who's constantly there. So it's like we're yearning for something that child is they're on their way. They're doing what they want. So just let them be. At least this child is giving you the attention that you want from your child. So it's like, I don't know. It's like we yearn for stuff that we can't have.
But that's in every aspect of life. You'll see a woman want a man so bad, but the man treat you like shit, and the other
it's
man,
just, I
and
don't
the other
know.
man that treat you so good,
you treat him like shit.
You treat him like shit because you don't really want him. You want the other guy that don't like.
Why do we want stuff that's bad for us?
You gotta ask the Lord.
Everybody wants something that is not good for them. I just don't get logic these days. I really don't. But
that's a topic for another day.
That is, yeah, and that sounds like a very deep topic as well. Like you have to get into the nitty-gritty with that one. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's random conversations. I am Danielle.
And I'm Noel.
And you can
like, subscribe, follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Please, if you watch this episode, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. And if you find any interesting topics that you would like us to discuss, please let us know.
And on that note, we will see you next week.
Oh, really?